So today I wanted to talk about the skincare routine I've been using for the past 2 years pretty consistently. It's natural, it's minimal, it's pretty zero waste, and it's super good for my skin. This is my skin without makeup. I try not to wear makeup anymore. I maybe wear it once a month, once every other month if I go to a very special thing or if I do work where I need it. But apart from that, I don't wear makeup anymore. I like to say that I don't use any beauty products anymore. I said I only use ingredients. So the 3 ingredients I use daily are first, vitamin E oil. I use natural and pure vitamin E oil as a serum on my face, and I use it every morning and every night. I've been using vitamin E oil consistently every day, probably for the past 5 years, I think. I absolutely love it. It is super thick and luxurious, and I buy it in a glass bottle because I like to avoid plastic. It is really nice to use as a serum because it's a bit thicker, so I like to pat it on my skin instead of because you can't really smooth it out. And according to folk wisdom, it's also been used with healing scarring. So I like to use it for that too, because I do have scars on my face that I like to heal. So after my serum, vitamin E oil, I use a moisturizer. And for moisturizer, I use organic olive oil. I use extra virgin organic oil. I buy it either from the grocery store or I buy it from my refill store. It's super nice to use these products for your skin, especially when you go traveling. Because when I go traveling, I just go to the nearest health food store in whatever city I'm visiting, and then I just buy a bottle of olive oil. I use that as moisturizer for my skin, for my hair, and for my body. And I also use it as a cleanser. So it's such a versatile product. It's quite cheap in most places. You can get it quite cheap, especially if you don't buy it organic. I like to buy organic and extra virgin olive oil to make sure I get the highest quality. I like to buy it in a glass bottle if I buy it in packaging, and I really want it to be organic because I want to avoid putting any toxins on my skin. So using this as a moisturizer, I just put it in a pump bottle that I try to clean monthly. So I try to disinfect it by boiling it monthly because it's a glass bottle. So one of the issues of making your own skincare product or not buying skincare products can be the hygienic and the cleaning parts of it. So it's really important to keep everything super clean. So I make sure to never have any bottles or anything I can put my hands in, and I always make sure to sanitize them by boiling them. And I really want to note that you don't need any disinfectants or chemicals to clean things. Boiling water is really effective at killing bacteria, and that is how you sterilize bottles and jars. So it's a very effective way to sterilize the equipment or the bottles you use for your skincare. And obviously this doesn't only go for natural skincare, it also goes for conventional skincare, but I think it's worth mentioning an extra time when you talk about natural skincare, because I think this is a bit controversial, but I think people are not very hygienic about their skin. And I think that's something I'll talk about later, which I think is really, really important. And the last ingredient I use for my skincare routine is tea tree oil. I am very careful using essential oils. I don't use many of them. I only use the ones that have been scientifically proven to work in peer-reviewed studies. Because I don't have time to go through amounts and amounts of fake studies or real studies, I look at nutritionfacts.org, which is, according to me, the best website to find information like this. So the essential oils I would consider using, given the information I have, is organic tea tree oil, organic sweet orange oil, and organic pine oil. However, I don't use all of these on my face. But I do use tea tree oil on my face sometimes. Tea tree oil I use extremely sparsely. I use it if I ever have acne. I get acne spots the moment I'm stressed. So this week I've been extremely stressed. So I had a little bit of acne on my face, I had a few spots. So I will use it on the spots. Sometimes I'll mix it a bit with my olive oil just to, if I feel like my skin needs to clear up a little bit. I also like to mix in a few drops of tea tree oil in my olive oil and use it for a scalp massage, because with my blonde and very fragile Scandinavian hair, I sometimes get a very dry scalp. And I went to a hairdresser once and they used tea tree oil in my hair and it felt so nice and refreshing, and I use it, sometimes. I'm not as good as taking care of my hair as I am at taking care of my skin. So those are all the products I use or ingredients that I like to use for my skincare routine, for my beauty routine. I sometimes like to make natural face masks, banana or avocado or oat face masks, but it gets quite messy. I'm not a big fan of mess, and it takes quite a lot of time. But if I'm super bored or if I have lots of time, that's something I like to have fun with. My best tip for natural skincare is to look at Indian YouTube channels. Even if they don't speak English, I've definitely spent a lot of time watching Indian women on YouTube and their natural beauty routines, because I think they have the best recipes for actually good and working natural face masks. So that's a bonus tip. I also wanted to mention sunscreen. I don't consider sunscreen to be in my skincare routine, but it is definitely in my daily routine. Yes, I use sunscreen on my face every single day, every time I go out, summer, winter, all year round. I use SPF 30. If I can't find 30, I will buy 50. I always use Zinc Oxide sunscreen, so the thing that makes your face completely white. Yes, it's a bit embarrassing and it made me feel a bit self-conscious in the beginning going out with it because if you don't put makeup over, you will look like a ghost. Um, but this is pretty much the only sunscreen you can wear that is reef safe, safe for our water, and safe for our skin and our health. So I highly suggest getting Zinc Oxide sunscreen. I like to go to EWG to always to check any beauty products I'm going to use to make sure that they have a low number and that they are not toxic or not have been proven to be toxic to our health. So that is everything for my skincare routine. It's very simple. I used to be super into skincare. I used to do like a full Korean skincare routine. I've lived in Japan and China, so I've definitely been very interested in Asian skincare and like the many steps and the very good taking care of your skin. But I think the most important thing now, which I've figured out, and the most important thing that have kept my skin this clear for this long is, apart from a healthy diet and no stress, is to only use natural product. I no longer believe in things like purging your skin or retinol or salicylic acid. I don't like to use anything that's harsh on my skin because I truly believe that it's much more worthwhile to find a balance within your skin that will take maybe a bit longer to achieve, but that is definitely possible. Our skin is just, to some degree, an extension of our health. So if our skin isn't healthy, there is maybe something that isn't right in your body, or maybe even more likely in your mind. I do get acne every time I'm stressed. I don't even have to be a little bit stressed. The moment I'm stressed, I will get acne the day after. I also get acne sometimes before my period, which is completely normal, and it's something I really try to remain calm about because our skin keeps changing, and I think it's important to accept your skin no matter what it looks like. I think that is the most important part about skincare. So before I end this video, I really want to talk about the fact that skincare is one of the most lucrative businesses in the world. It's valued at billions of dollars in its extreme revenue from literally just selling toxic chemicals to mainly women. And I really want to mention this because I don't think it's talked about enough. And I think that's one of the main reasons to switch over to a natural skincare regime is because you take back control over your health, over your finances, and also over what you're using on your skin. There's so many things that are being sold to women, like everything from laser hair removal to microneedling to retinol to all these really harsh chemicals and lasers and treatments that we use on our face. And there's really no long-term studies on this because they haven't been around for that long. So I would just really recommend you, and I try to remind myself, to be really cautious using these products that promise really amazing results. Because at the end of the day, no skincare products and no beauty goal can be worth sacrificing our health and also sacrificing the environment. It's important to remember that every time you put toxic skincare or toxic sunscreen or toxic makeup on your skin, you will at some point wash it off and it will go in our waterways. So it will go straight into nature. So that is my main motivation for using natural skincare, even when I can also look at things and be like, oh, that looks so flash and fun and I want to use those ingredients or those products. But I remind myself that it's not worth it. Also, it's not worth the money. Personally, I feel like my skin has never looked better using just olive oil, vitamin E oil, and tea tree oil maybe once a month. And I really like my skin now. I really like not wearing makeup. It's such a nice feeling. It definitely has taken me like 20 years to get comfortable in my skin, and then also to get comfortable with like having see-through eyebrows because I'm from Sweden. So yeah, my eyebrows are blonde, and it's definitely something that has taken me a while to really feel confident with, but it feels so much better to working on this and to be an example, for example, for my little sister, that when she sees me without makeup instead of always seeing me with makeup. Yeah, so that was a little rant at the end of my video, and that's everything I have to say about my skincare routine. If you have any questions, leave them down below. I have linked the products I use through iHerb because I buy them through iHerb because that's the cheapest place I've found to buy them, and I buy them there monthly. And yeah, so that's everything I use for my skincare routine. It's super minimal, it's extremely natural, and if you want to try it, I just suggest to start with olive oil from your grocery store, and you don't have to try any of the other products. The vitamin E oil is a little bit more expensive, so just start with olive oil, see how it goes, and then you can get vitamin E oil if you want to, but it's absolutely not necessary. Okay, thank you so much for watching. I really like making this video. I love talking about these kinds of things, and I'll see you next week with a new video. Bye!